Is this good? Is it good?
There's no deck.
It should load in a second now.
Okay.
There we go.
Today we're playing nothing.
Now you gotta play nothing. Gotta play something.
I've been having a hard time with this one, even though I think it's good, but I lose the game every time right at the start, and I just don't understand why.
There's actually an upload on like the Wizards website when they list like the top whatever decks of the day.
Yeah.
And for some reason one of them just didn't load ever.
Oh, really?
So it was just like a blank deck list, and he was like a 5-0 record. All right, everybody, what up? Pauper MTG, Rob and Dan, with our sending away of Cloud of Faeries Spectacular.
I'll miss you, Cloud of Faeries.
Cloud of Faeries, you've done your time, but now it's time for you to die.
You've ruined Magic for everyone.
And for that, we all praise you. Anyway, so this is my sweet blue-red Faeries deck. This was Dan's choice, Dan's Pauper choice to play.
Yep.
Today. So anything that goes wrong, it's his fault. We start off with lands, 18 lands. We got 1 copy of Is It Guildgate, 4 copies of Swiftwater Cliffs, 2 mountains, some amount of islands,
Yep.
and 2 Terramorphic Expanse. 18 lands. Moving on to the 1-drop slot, we got 4 copies of Fairy Miscreant. This guy's a 1/1 for 1. He could be Delver of Secrets, but you know, I like this guy more because I mean he draws me a card.
Yep.
Nobody wants to lightning bolt this thing.
Right.
And it also enables a turn 2 Ninja of the Deep Hours as well. And if you flip your Delver and you got your Ninja in hand, you're going to be like, hey, I don't want to lose my flip Delver to this Ninja. Because you want to have a 3/2 with flying and play on turn 1, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
With this guy, you don't have to worry about it because it's always a 1/1.
And he's a fairy. Delver's not a fairy.
Yeah, and it also works with Spell Stutter Sprite, which we're going to go into in a second here.
Alright.
4 copies of Preordain, the best cantrip in Magic the Gathering, 1 blue, scry 2, then draw a card. 2 copies of Firebolt. This thing is a shock with flashback 5.
Wow.
Pretty good. 3 copies of Flame Slash. This guy is here to deal with like affinity stuff, just, you know, big things.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the reason why we're playing red, is to be able to
Kill things, yeah.
kill things. Sometimes you want to kill things.
Yep.
2 copies of Lightning Bolt. 1 copy of Flare Husk. This thing is Living Weapon. When it comes into play, I put a 0/0 black Germ token into play, and it's automatically equipped to this thing. And the equipped creature gets +1/+1. Has equipped passive 2. This guy's in here can make our guys a little bit bigger, less vulnerable to like Trickery or what have you.
Right.
And it also can swing in on turn 2 for a Ninja of the Deep Hours.
Wow.
4 copies of Cloud of Faeries, our soon-to-be deceased friend. In case you don't know what this guy does, it's a 1/1 for 2 with flying. When it comes into play, I can untap 2 lands, and it has cycling for 2 in case we don't actually want to play it. So, all-around good card. 1 copy of Jilt. This card is a card with kicker, I guess.
Yep.
Return target creature to its owner's hand. If it's kicked, I can deal 2 damage to another target creature. So you can use this to like return your Spell Stutter Sprite to your hand. You can use it to simultaneously kill a thing. This is sweet. Sweet value.
Yes.
How can you deny that it's sweet value?
I didn't.
Good.
I never will.
Well, you shouldn't. 2 copies of Narcolepsy. This card's in here to deal with bigger things such as like Gurmag Angler. And since we're not running Delver of Secrets, we don't really have to worry about it being an enchantment.
Right.
2 copies of Snap. Best bounce spell ever printed. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Untap up to 2 lands. 4 copies of Spell Stutter Sprite. Flash Flying. When it comes into play, counter target spell with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of fairies you control. So this thing always counters for 1, but if you have like a Fairy Miscreant in play or a Cloud of Fairies in play, it can start countering some pretty big stuff.
Yeah.
4 copies of Counterspell. The best counterspell ever printed.
Counters everything.
It counters everything for 2 mana. And 2 copies of Exclude. One of my personal favorite cards. I mean, this card's so sweet. It's like Cryptic Command for 3 mana.
Yep.
Counter target creature spell and draw a card. 4 copies of Ninja of the Deep Hours. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. It's a 2/2 for 4. Ninjutsu of 2. So, like, say you're attacking with your Spell Stutter Sprite after you just countered something sweet. You can just play this guy, you get your spell stutter sprite back in hand, and when it connects, it draws you a card.
Wow. And it's basically unblockable as long as they don't have something that can block flying.
Exactly. Well, it's unblockable the first turn you play it.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. That's the important turn.
That's the turn you want.
Yes.
We have 2 copies of Gush. Instead of paying its mana cost, I can return 2 islands to my hand rather than do that, and it's just draw 2 cards. So it's also an instant, so that's pretty good. We have 1 copy of Spire Golem, Affinity for Islands. It's a 2/4 with flying, and what Affinity for Islands means is this spell costs 1 less to cast for each island you control.
If we have 6 islands, it's a free 2/4 with flying.
Yeah, we're rarely gonna have that many islands.
Yeah, it's a lot of islands, yeah.
But I mean, it's just a big fat flying thing.
Yeah, and it's probably cheap sometimes.
And it can be pretty cheap sometimes.
Yeah.
Moving on to the sideboard, we have 2 copies of Annul, counter target artifact or enchantment spell for 1 mana, 1 copy of Dispel, counter target instant spell, 4 copies of Hydroblast, counter target spell if it's red or destroy target permanent if it's red, 2 copies of Oriflux. Other enchantments have, at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this enchantment unless you pay 2 mana. So this guy comes in against Hexproof.
Hexproof, yeah.
Amongst other things, maybe,
Yeah.
perhaps. 2 copies of Stormbound Geist. This guy's in against mono black. 2/2 with flying for 3. It has Undying. Basically, this thing can eat an Edict effect, be a huge flyer. You know.
Yeah.
It's just hard to deal with for some decks, hence it being included in the sideboard.
Right.
2 copies of Elect Trickery. I've gotten blown out by this card so many times in the past.
Yeah.
If you're playing red, you want this card in your sideboard all the time.
Right.
I mean, it just, against certain decks, it's just auto-win. 2 copies of Pyroblast. Counter target spell if it's blue, destroy target permanent if it's blue. It's this comes in against blue decks like Delver, etc. And that is the deck, the blue-red Faeries deck. Dan, comments?
This seems pretty good. It seems like we got a lot of things that kill stuff. We got a lot of things that fly. We got a lot of things that draws cards. I don't know what else you could want in a deck.
It also counters things.
And it counters things. That too, yeah.
Also of note, this will be probably the most expensive deck we've ever played.
Really?
In Pauper MTG.
Okay.
So if you're looking to build on a budget, this is not the deck for you. But the good news is, Cloud of Faeries is going to be banned, so this deck might not even be able to exist for too much longer.
I guess, is that an expensive card, Cloud of Faeries? Or?
I think it's like $1.50 or something.
What's like the expensive cards in this?
Fuck. I know Gush used to be expensive.
Okay.
Ninja the Deep Hours, I think it's like $4 now or something. Firebolt is like $1.50 or something.
Really? Wow.
Snap. This thing's really expensive. I think it's like $2.50 a piece, something like that. Pyroblast, $5 card. You can buy a playset of Hydroblast for $50 now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
budget
anyway.
format, huh?
Well, I bought these all when they were much cheaper.
That's good.
Because, you know, I like to plan ahead. I was like, in the future, some famous YouTube guy's going to start playing Pauper, and I better buy all of the staples before that happens.
Right, right.
So anyway, on with matches.
Yep.
We'll see you for match 1.